Right Honorable Speaker and members, in 1978, when in exile in Nairobi, Honorable Dr. Sarah Ntiro did not stop her advocacy for education. She established an education consultancy of higher education for African refugees, family planning, associations of university women, and many others. Honorable Dr. Sarah Ntiro has left a commendable track record and illustrious career and service. For instance, there is the Ntiro Girls Vocational Secondary School in Hoima, which is a government-aided effort to instill in other girls the same spirit that got her on an award of a woman of distinction from the Foundation of Activists for Women Education in Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker and the members, we sincerely extend our deep condolences and sympathies to the family, the relatives, the academia, Bunyoro Kingdom, and the country at large. May her soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I invite the Leader of Opposition.
Right Honorable Speaker, on behalf of Opposition Fraternity and on behalf of the people of Gulu District and on my own behalf, I hereby second a motion for a resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to the late Honorable Sarah Ntiro Nyendwo, former Member of Parliament in the Uganda Legislative Council, which occurred on Monday, 22nd October 2018 at Mengo Hospital, Kampala, at the age of 92. The late Honorable Sarah Ntiro, at a time when girls were only good for marrying, Nyendwo's parents found nothing strange about sending their child to school. In 1945, Makerere College admitted its first female students, and she was among them. And I remember where she testified to us that she was not allowed to be in mathematics classroom. That was very unfortunate. In 1951, she joined Oxford University and graduated with a bachelor's degree in history in 1954. She became East Africa's first female graduate. Right Honorable Speaker, she served in the Uganda Legislative Council from 1958 to 1961, where she tabled a private member's bill on the registration of marriages in 1961. From 1965 to August 1967, she worked at Ministry of Education as the secretary to the Teaching Service Committee and was instrumental in starting the Teaching Service Commission. Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda has lost a great woman whose life's work was devoted to fighting for equality for women. She was an inspiration and a mentor for both men and women in Bunyoro sub-region and the country at large, encouraging them to focus on education for transformation of their societies. On behalf of the opposition and the country at large, I take this opportunity to send my deepest condolences to the family of the deceased for the loss of their strong pillar in the society, who has been a role model to the young generation. May her soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I invite Honorable Jalia Bintu, Honorable Jalia, Honorable Musana, Jova Vero, and Noelin. Oh, okay, Jalia, and then let's hear from the independents, then we'll come back to the others.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the people of Masindi District, the women of Munyoro and Uganda, and on my own behalf, I join my colleagues in supporting the motion to pay tribute to the late Honorable Sarah Antiro Nyendwo. Madam Speaker, Honorable Sarah Antiro tells the story of women emancipation and equality in Uganda. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister, the mover of the motion, has just elaborated the history and some of the achievements of Honorable Sarah Antiro. Honorable Sarah Antiro's niche was to train as a mathematics teacher. But because of the gender imbalances and inequalities at that time, she was denied to attain this qualification. But Sarah Antiro was very assertive that when she entered the lecture room and the tutor refused to teach, she resisted moving out. But when she realized that this was going to cause the whole school, the whole class, to miss out on the lecture, she decided to give way. This shows us how Sarah was very courageous, was a warrior, a fighter for the equality of women. Madam Speaker and honorable members, Sarah Antiro, during her teaching profession at Gayaza High School, when she realized that the pay, her salary was going to be less than what her other her colleagues were getting, especially the male colleagues, Sarah Antiro refused to receive the less pay. And she decided to volunteer as a teacher for a whole year. And that's when the governor came to know, and they agreed that let's pay Sarah equal pay to the men. And Madam Speaker, this takes us to what pushed her to move a bill for equal pay. Sarah is one of those members who immediately introduced, when she was appointed to the Legislative Council, who immediately introduced a private member's bill on equal pay for men and women. And this is the story of the women in Uganda, Africa, and the world. We applaud Honorable Sarah Antiro for this courageousness and for fighting for the women's equality. Madam Speaker, Sarah Antiro was very instrumental in starting the Teaching Service Commission, which to date we are enjoying its services. Madam Speaker, Sarah Antiro's life and work was devoted to fighting for equality for the women. She's among the few members who founded the Forum for African Women Educationists in Uganda, FAWE. And during the 2000 meetings, the Dr. Sarah Antiro Lecture and Award event was started. Madam Speaker, I want to quote one of Sarah Antiro's statements. Honorable Sarah Antiro wished all the women of Uganda, and she stated this: I would still like every woman to know that you can fight any battle if it's worth listening to. And she said in the 2012 FT interview, she continued to narrate that she might have been born to the right parents at the right time, but she also was a warrior for women's rights. Madam Speaker, when I realized in 2002 that the school girl dropout rate in Masini district was very high, I contacted the Honorable Sarah Ntiro. And because Sarah Ntiro was very passionate about girl education, she committed to coming to be a role model in Masini district. We moved around all the primary schools. She talked to the school children. She talked to the parents. She talked to the leadership of the district. And Madam Speaker, by the time Sarah stopped moving around the country, the school girl dropout in Masini district had refused. Today, we're enjoying Sarah Ntiro's efforts in mentoring, in role modeling, and encouraging girl child to remain at school. No wonder.
Okay, half a minute to conclude.
Madam Speaker, no wonder when the schools were closed during the COVID, we got so many cases of girl child pregnancies. And Madam Speaker, the girl child wants to go back to school as soon as yesterday. And this was Sarah Ntiro's wishes. Madam Speaker, lastly, I want to call on the government that such senior citizens, and more so senior citizens who are women, the government should put in place a system or a mechanism which will keep these people's names and their works in remembrance, and which will teach other people who may not have seen or talked to Sarah, but who may want to emulate what Sarah did. And in so doing, their contribution will be remembered forever and ever. And I want to propose, Madam Speaker, that Sarah Ntiro, I know so many regions have constructed schools, but we want those institutions which government has got a hand, because those ones will stand the test of time. Like Makerere University, we can easily say either a hall or a dormitory or a library under gender department, that this is Sarah Ntiro Library. This will help the world and the country to know and cherish Sarah Ntiro's works. Madam Speaker, may Honorable Sarah Ntiro's life rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Ogon, then Eric Musana, then we shall go to Honorable Chetero. 3 minutes, please.
I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I join in paying tribute to the late Honorable Sarah Ntiro Nyendwo, former MP, Uganda Legislative Council. Right Honorable Speaker, in terms of age, in terms of connection, for me, I've only read about the late Sarah Ntiro. I've heard about her from other people. If it wasn't for her legendary record, I would have decided to walk away, go and do other things. But because of the kind of contribution that we read about her, that we have heard about her, I decided that I must stay back and pay tribute to her, to such a hero who has done such a wonderful service to this country, the great nation of Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, you will also allow me first to appreciate you and your office for having shown that resilience. You can imagine, yesterday we were busy here up to late. Today again, we have held 3 motions in a row, and yet we have work coming at 2. It is not a simple achievement, and I want to believe, Right Honorable Speaker, you are now hitting beyond 100% record of performance. I thank you so much. It is not something we can take for granted. I want to appreciate. The late Sarah Ntiro, if you go to the records, was that first woman to graduate from Oxford. And yet most people have found it a challenge even to graduate within Uganda. What a woman. She was a great person. An inspiration to the women of today, to the children of today, to the girls of today and this age. She managed to break the jinx. I was touched when the Right Honorable Prime Minister talked about the late being denied an opportunity to study math just because of being a woman, just because of being a girl. What a darker past. It was so bad. Without her, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to believe, we would not be where we are now. These are the pillars, the people, the changing points. They are the ones who turn things around for the good of this country, balancing the women and the men, the girls and the boys. Right Honorable Speaker, in Teso, our past was bad. It used to be bad indeed. In terms of education, when somebody had some cows to sell for fees, they would always choose to prioritize the boys against the girls. But the coming of such people like Sarah and Tiro, I think, has changed everything. Not only for
half a minute to conclude.
Not only for the place where she came from, but the entire country. I am told she lived for 92 years. That is not a small time. I think God keeps people who work well. Those who are legendary, God keeps them longer. A human rights activist who worked for women. A person who dedicated herself to serving the nation without reservation. Moving a private member's bill in terms of marriages, registration of marriages, that was historic. Serving as a clerk to Makerere Universal Council is not a mean achievement. Right Honorable Speaker, also somebody to offer to work for free for a year. That one doesn't easily happen in Uganda today. And also fought for women's emancipation. She was an activist, a true activist, and supported women education. We would dearly miss her. May her soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you very much. Honorable Musana. Musana, then Honorable Chetero, then Honorable Jova, then finally Naulini.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise here to pay tribute to the granddaughter of Bunyoro, Dr. Sarah Nyendwo, a senior educationist, a doctor that we all young people see that we achieved a lot from her. Madam Speaker, Dr. Sarah Nyendwo has contributed a lot, not only in the emancipation of women. She has been very, very practical. I just want to give only one example. Dr. Sarah Nyendwo, together with one NGO in Kagadi called Uganda Rural Development and Training, led a team in establishing an all-women's university called African Rural University, where she has been a member and a member of the University Council. Dr. Nyendwo did a lot in establishing and also unifying this university. Imagine in the whole of in East Africa, we don't have such a university. But she was rather very practical, not just speaking, but also putting in practice what she truly thinks and what she truly knows. And this is what we actually glorify all her actions. Madam Speaker, we remember Dr. Sarah Nyendwo for breaking several barriers that existed in society, especially these injustices that were one for against women, and the other not necessarily on women, but also on the other categories of society. And you would see where injustices would come up, Dr. Sarah Nyendwo would say, we want equal opportunities for everyone. And imagine getting this first graduate, not only for Uganda, but across East Africa. It gives us a lot of hope that even the African or the girl child education can actually go on and receive this. The only gift we can give, Madam Speaker, and all of us who are still living, and the young people, is only to put in practice, to put up what she has been training and what she has been put in place to make sure that the girl child education goes on, and also we see how we move on, and also promoting literacy levels, knowing that the literacy levels not only in Uganda but Africa.
Okay, Honorable Chetero, now Jova, Kamateka, and then Nowodin Vasamira. 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'd like to thank the Prime Minister for this tribute, and on my behalf and behalf of the people of Kaberamaido, and also mainly on behalf of the senior women, senior active women of Uganda, I would like to support this motion and say a few words for Honorable Sarah Ntiro. Right Honorable Speaker, I will really ask for 2 extra minutes because I knew this lady and I want to do justice to what I'm about to say. Right Honorable Speaker, I first met Honorable Sarah Ntiro in the 70s in Kenya. And what a wonderful and an accomplished lady from Uganda. I'd be a great daughter of Bunyoro, coming from Hoima. Right Honorable Speaker, at the time when very few women were going to school, Sarah Ntiro impressed the whole country, indeed the entire East Africa, by going to school at the coveted King's College, Budo. She qualified as a teacher, but she did not just stay as a teacher. She qualified as a teacher and taught and mentored many in that discipline. She also came out very clearly as a human rights activist, and most of her work has already been read out by the Prime Minister, and some have been attested to by people who spoke before me. Madam Speaker, Sarah Ntiro was the first in many disciplines. She was the first woman graduate, the first woman legislator, the first woman this, the first. And we have to thank God for those firsts and those who have followed her. She is a mentor of many, an example to follow, and somebody that every woman should look to be a friend or copy from. Madam Speaker, I continued in the 1978. I went to Magdalene College at Oxford, and before I looked for Honorable Sarah Ntiro for tips. And when I asked her, what should I do, what shouldn't I do, she told me, you go there and tell them you are the daughter of Sarah Ntiro, because I left so many marks on the walls of Oxford, and everything will be well for you. Madam Speaker, indeed, that is exactly what happened. She fought for women. She fought for women empowerment. She fought for women emancipation. She fought for the growth of the women family in Uganda, in East Africa, and I dare say Africa at large. What lesson, Madam Speaker, do we get from a woman who lived up to 92 from from Honorable Sarah Ntiro? I think, Madam Speaker, this is a woman to emulate. She's left all her marks, and we should really follow these marks. But I want to say, for what she stood for, that she the bill on administration of marriage, or the law on administration of marriage. Madam Speaker, we still have issues with laws of marriage in this parliament. We have before this parliament, in this house, the bill on marriage and divorce, and it stopped in plenary at clause 23. Madam Speaker, in honor of this great lady, for the journey that she started, can we do her an honor and do this country a favor and make this...
Yeah, just conclude.
Madam Speaker, I was saying, can we please do this lady the honor and do this, this country an honor, do this lady a service by making this law into law, this parliament. Madam Speaker, I like to end and say 92 is not a year that we mourn somebody. 92 is a year, those are years of celebration of life of somebody. So I join you, I join the Prime Minister in celebrating the life and times of this great lady. May the Almighty Lord rest her peace, her soul in eternal peace. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Joffa Kamateka, then Honorable Noeline Lasumira.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise on behalf of the people of Mitoma and on my own behalf to first of all thank the Prime Minister for this befitting motion to pay tribute to the Honorable Sarah Nyendwo, the first East African graduate and former member of the LegCo. Even with all the accolades aside, when you met Honorable Sarah Ntiro, you could see a distinguished woman of substance. Because I remember that I first met her in All Saints Cathedral. She was a committed member of All Saints Cathedral, Kampala, and worshipped the only true God, the creator of heaven and earth, who all Ugandans acknowledge as the guiding principle of our nation when we say for God and country. And I hope all Ugandans will still remember that there is only one true God, the creator of heaven and earth. Right Honorable Speaker, the love for God drove Honorable Sarah Ntiro to serve her people with dignity, with distinction in the LegCo. And she was a champion indeed of women's emancipation and women's rights. In moving that bill for registration of marriages, Honorable Sarah Ntiro wanted women to be recognized, that women's rights should be recognized in the homes, because you know the African tradition that you got married and everything belonged to the man. For you, you were just property of the man. But in registering those marriages, at least the women would be recognized as partners and somehow owners of property. We can never thank her enough. She was a member of several women's organizations and was a committed member of the women's movement. And she did not waste any effort in mentoring other women and girls. Honorable Sarah Ntiro was a true embodiment of dignity, integrity, selflessness, and unwavering focus and unity of purpose. She was a true ambassador indeed of women power. And our girls should know from the lesson of Honorable Sarah Ntiro that when you love God and you are committed to whatever, just a minute,
1 minute to close.
and you are committed and dedicated to whatever services he has put before you. Not even the sky will be the limit. So Sarah Ntiro holds the light for all women in Uganda now and in the future. And we thank God indeed, we bless God for her life. May her soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you, Honorable University.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, once again for the opportunity. I raise in support of the motion to pay tribute to our great leader from Bunyoro, Honorable Dr. Sarah Ntiro. Madam Speaker, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing this motion on the order paper, and I want to thank the Right Honorable Prime Minister for moving the motion. Madam Speaker, the late Honorable Sarah Ntiro in Bunyoro, we regard her as an icon for girl-child education, not only in Bunyoro but for the entire country. Madam Speaker, Sarah Ntiro, Dr. Sarah Ntiro was a fighter, a courageous woman, very resilient. I believe at the time she grew up and studied, women emancipation was at its lowest. And we are told, right from the move of the motion, that she was the first female graduate in East and Central Africa. Madam Speaker, that is not a mini achievement. She managed to go through and overcome all the hurdles that affect girl-child education, especially at that time. And I want to propose, Madam Speaker, in her honor, that this Parliament and government grants the long-awaited Bunyoro University in Hoima to give more chance to the people of Bunyoro, and especially the girl child, to easily access university education, so that we have more graduates like the late Honorable Dr. Sarah Ntiro. And secondly, Madam Speaker, we have been informed that during her tenure as a member of the Legislative Assembly, Honorable Dr. Sarah Ntiro moved a motion, a private members bill on the registration of marriages. So, Madam Speaker, she was a strong supporter of marriage and family. I want to pray that in her honor, this Parliament expedites the process of enactment of laws that promote strong marriages and families. I know there are a number of bills that are still lying in this Parliament that have not been processed in support of marriage and family. It is my prayer that in her honor, Madam Speaker, we process and enact these laws. I want to thank you, Madam Speaker, and I pray that the soul of our gallant leader, late Honorable Dr. Sarah Ntiro, rest in peace.
Thank you very much, honourable members. I want to thank very much the Prime Minister and the Leader of Opposition for consistently being available to pay tribute to the great Ugandans. But just to add that last week, His Majesty the Omukama of Bunyoro sent me a delegation to inquire about the fate of the Bunyoro University, because he's aware that in September 2015, the House resolved to establish 3 universities, the one of Bunyoro, the one of Rwenzori, and Namsagara University. Unfortunately, none of these has come to fruition. So, Prime Minister, I think we need to take this up so that our people get the services they require. Secondly, I'm personally very happy that finally a tribute has been paid to Dr. Ntiro. I've been really troubled that woman of such distinction would not be honored. So I'm really grateful to the Prime Minister that he finally brought the motion to honor this woman of distinction. Then thirdly, at a personal level, I first heard about Sarah Nyendwo then in 1966. One of my uncles, Mr. Gideon Eva Ndavyandara, was her classmate. So during the state of emergency in 1966, he had come to Kampala but I think 6 o'clock found him still in Kampala. He could not travel to Iganga. So he came to our house in Naguru and was talking about his classmates and mentioned Sarah Nyendwo. That's the first time I heard about her. And I'm happy to have known her in real life. She has been an inspiration to all of us. I therefore put the question, that the question be put. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Let's have it. Put the question that this House to pay tribute as proposed by the Prime Minister. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Let's have it. So the clerk is directed to extract the tribute in respect of Omuka Maruhanga Vichaka and Dr. Antiro, and also to extract the Hansard for both of them, so that they are sent to, first the other one to the Church of Unity and his family in Mohoro, and the one of Dr. Antiro to her family. And I want to thank the members of Parliament for sparing time this morning. We have a sitting in the afternoon. We shall reconvene at 3:15. So House adjourned 3:15. Thank you very much.